We're at an amazing time in history where the church globally is so extraordinarily diverse, and here's a great opportunity for the American church, the church in the United States, to learn from the churches all over the world. I think, for example, the individualism is something that we can address. Maybe the market-driven consumerism that American churches oftentimes fall into that trap. We can learn from communities that have absolutely nothing in terms of financial resources, and yet they're flourishing. And so maybe we can learn that we don't need those financial resources to be the full expression of the kingdom of God, because we're seeing communities all over the world without any resources doing incredible work for the kingdom of God. So maybe that's a prophetic challenge to the church in the U.S., that it's not about financial resources, it's not about education, it's not about a set of knowledge that we gain, but it's about the passion for the gospel. It's about the heart for the lost that we see in places that financially have nothing, but are doing incredible work for the kingdom of God. We see so many positive examples, especially in kind of parts of the world where the gospel is starting to take root for the first time. We can even look at the example in recent history of the church in Korea, emerging out of extreme poverty, a war-torn nation, and out of that comes the birth of this amazing church and the growth of the church. And it didn't have to do with resources per se. It had nothing to do with was money being pumped into these churches. It was the sense of there's a great need in our nation. We're coming out of a horrible war. We're coming out of extreme poverty. And yet in the middle of that, people sought out the work of Christ and were redeemed and restored by that work. I also think there's that reflection of God's work here in the United States, where we're seeing the small Spanish-speaking storefront churches that are growing in extraordinarily numbers. Now, are they mega churches that are making a big splash in American church history? Not necessarily. They're the small Spanish-speaking storefront church of 40, 50 people, but they're doing incredibly impactful ministry right in the communities that they're planted. And so these are great examples, some that are overseas, but others that are right in our backyard, of churches with limited resources that are doing incredible work for the kingdom of God.